We also live on YouTube, ABC News GH. So kindly join us there. The Affirmative Action Gender Equity Bill 2024, which has been in and out of the Parliament since 2011 and was finally passed unanimously by Parliament on July 30, 2024, has been assented to by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. With the assent out of the way now, what is left is the implementation. The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dakwa Newman, made it known on Thursday afternoon that the President has assented to the bill. On Tuesday, July 30, 2024, Parliament passed the historic Affirmative Action Gender Equity Bill. The passage of the bill presents a landmark legislative effort in Ghana's ongoing journey towards achieving gender parity across all sectors of society. The bill seeks to address the historical and systematic gender imbalances that have long permeated the nation's political, social, economic, and cultural landscapes. Joining us on the phone is Shamima Muslim. She is the founder and convener of the Alliance for Women in Media Africa, for a discussion. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon. Whilst we look at contact with Shamima Muslim, let's look at what the Affirmative Gender Equity Act 2024 is about. The purpose of the act is to ensure the achievement of gender equality in the political, social, economic, educational, and cultural spheres of the society. The implementation of this act and achievement of the targets shall be progressive and subject to evaluation in accordance with the first schedule. You know that women are not always counterpart men in various aspects of our life, in the political, social, economic, educational, and cultural. We find that many of the times the society, because it is quite patriarchal, tends to favor one demographic or the other. So there is a bill that will ensure that we achieve gender equality in women expression in all of the places, so that we don't say that women can do this, women cannot do this, when you are looking at two people for it. Okay, we have Shamima Muslim. She is the founder and convener of the Alliance for Women in Media Africa, for a discussion, and she joins us on the line. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Just to know, I'm no longer the convener. I think I resigned from that position. So the new convener for ALMA is Madam Mercy Siajabing. Just to clarify that.
Apologies, pardon us.
Yes.
How do you receive this news of the act finally being assented to by the president?
Well, I think that it was just the next expected logical decision, and we were anticipating that His Excellency would assent to the bill and quickly see to its implementation. So it's welcome news. It's welcome news, even though it's delayed a bit, but it is welcome news. I mean, for us, as members of the NDC, and hello,
Shamima, we can hear you. Okay, we have Shamima. We go to establish contact with her, but let's go back and take a look at what the bill is about. The bill is making sure that there is equality, equal representation for women in political, in social, in economic, educational, and cultural spheres of the society, so that no woman is left behind by virtue of the act, and the achievement of the targets of the act shall be progressive, subject to evaluation with the schedule. This act also seeks to redress gender imbalance by ensuring that government promotes policies and programs to reduce social, economic, and educational gender imbalance in public and private sectors. It is no news that there are imbalances in various sectors in the fabric of our society. So this act is going to redress those gender imbalances and ensure that the government promotes policies and programs for women, aimed at women, targeted at women in political spheres, in social spheres, in economic spheres, in educational spheres. When you go into a family and you look between the male kids and the female kids, where the family is quite impoverished and looking at whom to send to school, there's always a high probability that the male child would be picked over the female child. And this is an imbalance in the social circles. It means that there is some socialization to the point that you would favor the male child over the female child. So the passing of this act is a very important one, and it is good for the girl child, good for the female, looking at the progress of the female. No longer should anybody withhold any access from a female because of the gender that she has. So this is what the bill is doing. It will also ensure the achievement of gender equality in the political, social, economic, educational, and cultural spheres of life. So this bill, like I said, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming for the bill to be passed and even assented to. It was passed, made into an act. Now the president has signed. He has assented to the act, and it is of great news to women all over the country. The government shall set progressive targets for the achievement of gender equality in accordance with international conventions and regional agreements to which Ghana is a signatory. And for purposes of appointments to positions of authority and decision making in the public sector, in the public service. Women deserve to be in every place that decisions are made. So it is very necessary that this law has been passed and this act has been passed and assented to by the president. Shamima Muslim joins us again over the phone. Hello, ma'am.
Right, thank you again. Sorry, the line dropped earlier. So I was saying that it was welcome news. It's what we expected the president to do, to show first commitment to advancing the political and socio-economic representation and protection of women and various marginalized groups. So it is good news that he has finally put his signature on the bill, and we can now say that we have an affirmative action gender equity legislation, which, as I said some time ago on your show, is the first of many, many steps towards proper equity and representation.
So as we move towards proper equity and representation, what are some of the things that you are looking forward to now that the president has assented to this act?
Number one, I want him to situate the implementation, the rollout of the implementation at the office of the presidency. 2-3 months to the end of his administration is a long time for him to really, as I said some time ago, redeem the perception that he has not done much for the women of Ghana in the 8 years that he has been president. The numbers of women in public life have not increased substantially. The number of women in his government as ministers, deputy ministers, as head of authorities, agencies, as MMDCEs, has not seen substantial, increase in the last 8 years of his administration. So now that he has passed the bill, it is good for him to really cement the legacy. I think he should do some great things, situate the implementation at the office of the presidency, quickly ensure that all MMDAs and state institutions, parastatal institutions, all inaugurate the affirmative action committees, because they will truly be the implementing group in all these various spaces that we have found ourselves. So we would want to see him inaugurating some of these committees as soon as possible, so they can start work. And some of the immediate things they would have to do is to do a general audit of the organizations to figure out where we are in terms of equity, who is in the organization, the numbers of women, persons with disability, all of that. You need a general audit first to be able to now know which specific areas, sectors require the affirmative action. There will be spaces in which there will be no woman in line for the for promotion into, because there are no women who are being trained or who are in lower positions who can, be promoted to those. So if we find that in an organization that since the lifetime of the organization, a woman has never headed that organization, it means there's a problem and it means there's a gap. So you must take an affirmative action to recruit deliberately and to put the few women who are in that organization, you put them on some fast-track management programs to prepare them to be able to come into a leadership position. So there is a lot of work to be done, and I think that he can put in place the framework and the foundation on which the next NDC government, when it comes into power, January 2024, will be definitely happy to build upon and, raise the status of women in our society, as well as the status of other marginalized groups in our society.
As his running mate,
pardon?
Into the elections, you have doing some things for women. Your flag for his running mate, a woman, and getting into the elections, he's spoken about interventions for women. Now that this act has been assented to by the president, in hopes of becoming president of Ghana, what would be the first thing he would look at on the back of this affirmative action act?
You would agree with me that the NDC has announced a set of very comprehensive social protection, social inclusion, as well as representation policies under our gender, children, social protection and inclusion segment of our 2024 manifesto. We have announced that we are under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will be mandating a 30% appointment of women in public life, which means in his next government, we're looking at a minimum of 30% women across board in all public positions that he will be appointing, because he has such appointive powers. We will be actively looking for women who are willing, who are able, and who will competently deliver on the responsibilities that they'll be, that will be given to them. So that is already one, and that is one of the minimum targets, even with the affirmative action bill, as we grow towards 50-50 parity in the nearest future. So we have already announced that. We've also announced that the next NDC government would mandate a 5% appointment of all persons with disability who are seeking employment and qualified for those employments in the same public, sector. So again, that is a direct response to the equity intervention for persons with disability who face several discriminations, even in employment. Sometimes because the organizations do not even have disability access. If you're a story building, you can create a space in the down floor. If you're a story building that does not have an elevator, you must create spaces within your down floor to allow for persons who may be physically challenged to be able to access and work in your organization. So there is that mandate as well. Then we, speaking generally about the economic and social cultural protection of women, we're looking at expanding opportunities for employment and jobs and non-discrimination of women, especially lactating women or women who are in their reproductive stages. by implementing ILO Convention 190 to say no to sexual harassment and discrimination at the workplace. So the next NDC government is going to adopt a zero tolerance for harassment against women and other vulnerable groups in the workplace. What this means is that we would enforce policies like a 4-month maternity leave for women, so women who can have some extended time with their newborn babies. The other novel thing we are trying to do is to also ensure that women who have miscarried, women who have gone through fertility treatment and have been unsuccessful and are going through some psychological trauma, women who have had cesarean sections and require some extra time to heal, should be able to apply legally and be offered leave periods to be able to recover and return to work. Also, to enforce sexual harassment policies, which is one of the protective and safeguarding mechanisms in the proposed affirmative action bill, to ensure we implement strictly sexual harassment policies in the workspace to create safe spaces and safe working conditions for women and everybody else who works in that organization. These are some of the things we will be doing immediately we come to power, God willing, January 2025.
Thank you for speaking, Shamima. Shamima Muslim is a member of the NDC and a gender activist. Away from that, workers of the Volta River Authority are staging a demonstration against government's plan to merge the VRA with the Bui Power Authority, the electricity company of Ghana, and NEDCO. This follows an earlier rejection by some staff groups of the company who said the Volta River Authority was built for the people and not the highest bidder. The proposal, if effected, will also see the consolidation of the ECG with the North Company of an VRA stand. But the workers in a Wednesday September 2024 statement said there is an existing memorandum of understanding between VRA and NEDCO that guarantees VRA's continuous support in terms of power supply and the expansion of other infrastructure. The memorandum of understanding has expired, requiring a renewal, but management has been rendered powerless and has no interest in the renewal to guarantee continuous support to NEDCO for no apparent reason. The Electricity Company of Ghana says the latest report by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission on the operations of the power distributor as they relate to the cash waterfall mechanism leaves much to be desired. In a statement on the PURC's review of the cash waterfall mechanism, Electricity Company of Ghana said the report misrepresents key issues. According to the ECG, its fuel costs, crucial to maintaining operations, were inadequately labeled as a variance. And while ECG has made significant progress, such as independently procuring fuel, it is framed negatively in the report. Additionally, ECG said the review overlooks forex losses and delays in payment to independent power producers, creating a misleading narrative. ECG has consequently called for more constructive leadership and accurate reporting from the PURC to foster progress in Ghana's energy sector. at some excerpts from the statements from the ECG. PURC's approach to the cash waterfall mechanism review, a need for clarity and constructive leadership. As Ghana approaches a pivotal national election, the role of institutions such as the PURC becomes increasingly crucial. It is therefore disappointing to see that the recent review of the cash waterfall mechanism released by the PURC has raised concerns, not for the facts it presents, but for how these facts are being framed and communicated. So ECG has a problem with the framing and communication of facts from the PURC concerning the cash waterfall. A key in the PURC's report is the labeling of essential fuel costs as a variance. This characterization can be misleading, and what is referred to as a variance is in fact a cost of fuel, a necessary part of ECG's operations that has been managed effectively by the current leadership. ECG believes that it has managed its fuel operations, its fuel very well by their leadership or management, and does not understand why PURC will label that as a variance. And ECG says that it is understandable that the cash waterfall mechanism report must address all aspects of the mechanism. Labeling the fuel cost as a variance distracts from the fact that ECG is performing better now than it has in years. Furthermore, ECG says the issue of payments to IPPs, the independent power producers raised in the report, requires further clarification. ECG has complied fully with payments of Tier 2 beneficiaries, including the PURC itself, throughout the period under review. Additionally, the report seems to overlook the impact of foreign exchange losses on ECG's ability to fulfill its financial obligations. The discrepancy between and the market or Bank of Ghana rates results in significant forex losses when making payments to IPPs. These are excerpts from the response of ECG to PURC. Away from that and into politics, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, says the petition for a forensic audit of the voters being demanded by the National Democratic Congress must be tabled at an inter-party advisory committee meeting for the input of other parties and stakeholders on the matter. CODEO believes that the forum for this issue now should be at IPAC, so that it will involve maybe the political parties, the civil society organizations, and other organizations, so that it will have a broad perspective. The election observer body said the Christian Council of Ghana yesterday also urged the EC to consider meeting the NDC halfway on its demands. Governance expert Professor Balfour Ajimandria has also called for dialogue to resolve the issues. Dr. Nyahuta Maklo advised the Electoral Commission to ensure that the register is clean. On the phone, Jibril. He is the Deputy Director of Elections for the National Democratic Congress. Good afternoon, Jibril.
Afternoon.
Will you consider for Hello, Jibril.
Yeah.
Yes. Would you consider what CODEO is saying about the NDC coming to the table for an IPAC meeting, so that there will be a broader consultation on this issue of the forensic audit?
Let me say, maybe CODEO have not followed our issues. In order to, they have not also read our petition. We have already demanded the Electoral Commission to call for IPAC meeting, stakeholder engagement. We have requested that. So it is not the NDC who can call for IPAC. It's the Electoral Commission. If they deem it right that they should call IPAC meeting, they will call. But see, this issue we are discussing, this is not an issue to go to IPAC when CODEO will be there to come and talk about we are voting, how many people said they want to change or not. It's about what is good for us to be done. So this coming to CODEO IPAC, When could you ever, when the MPP raised the issue of register, did they even call any Alvarez to go to what do you call IPAC? You see, this kind of double standard of people dealing with national issues must stop. When we used the issue of register in 2015, when the Mensa raised the issue of auditing of a register in 2015, did Kodio ask any of them to go to IPAC?
So, Madi, you do not want to go for any IPAC meeting?
No, we have an IPAC meeting to discuss IPAC issues. This is more, you see, IPAC doesn't discuss criminal issues where somebody can sit in his house to transfer name into our data. IPAC doesn't discuss those issues. And we raised the issue of a missing equipment at IPAC. What have electoral commission done about it? When Kodio reps was there, what did the electoral commission done about it? So if they are calling us to go to, they know why they want us to go to IPAC and discuss on these things. Why they will go and then say, oh, who says, how many people say yes and no? Those are not the issue we're talking about. We are talking about where the Mensa, Bossman, Tete even telling the whole world that the 2016 register has animals and donkeys in it. And the same person is there telling us that because we didn't see it in 2016, why do you raise it in 2020? And this kind of IPAC you're going to discuss issue over.
Madi Jibril, many groups have called that you should come to the table with other stakeholders. Don't you think that's beyond your demonstration? You should listen to them and then come to the table with other stakeholders, as they may also give some more clarification on this issue that you are looking at.
You see, when we requested a meeting with a live telecast, Electoral Commission denied the whole nation this opportunity to resolve this issue once and for all. Where were those people who wanted to have a discussion, stakeholder engagement, say, Electoral Commission accept it so that all of us listen to what is going on? Did they say anything? But they applauded Electoral Commission after meeting us to hold a press conference with live telecasts. After now we raised our voice higher than what they thought. Now they think that, to just save our image, come and sit around the table. They should go through our petition and what the petition said. Once they respond to our petition, it's part of the negotiation we are dealing with.
Once they respond to your petition, it's part of the negotiations you are dealing with. Thank you for speaking with us, Madi Jibril. Jibril is the Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC. The Teachers and Educational Workers Union of the Trades Union Congress has joined forces with the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana in a nationwide strike, effective Friday, September 20, 2024. Despite numerous protests and negotiations, this decision comes after the government failed to address their demands for improved working conditions. Tewu in a statement cited the government's failure to implement previously agreed upon conditions, including the non-implementation of vehicle maintenance and off-campus allowances. Despite an approval letter from the Ministry of Finance dated August 2, 2024, the Controller and Accountant General's Department has failed to implement these allowances for Tewu members. Additionally, the union indicated that government has neglected to recalculate and pay interest accrued from delayed Tier 2 deductions to the union scheme from January 2010 to 2016. They further argued that the government owes 8 months' worth of Tier 2 deductions, which were deducted from employee salaries but not remitted to the union scheme for effective management. Joining us on phone is the Deputy General Secretary of Tewu, Charles Kofi Osei, to have a conversation on this. Good afternoon, Charles.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Why have you joined the Senior Staff Association in this nationwide strike?
Why have we joined the senior staff? Yes, because it's a matter of issues that concerns all of us. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, did you hear me?
So I didn't quite catch what you said. Can you please go over it again?
Yeah, I said that it is an issue that concerns all of us.
How does it concern all of you? Senior Staff
All of us sat
Association.
down.
Yes.
Yes, senior staff. All of us sat down with government and came to an agreement on that issue concerning the Tier 2 matter, concerning vehicle maintenance allowance, and so on and so forth. And don't forget that TEU has its members across all the ladder of education, right from the basic, the secondary, and that of the university. So that is the widest form that you can think of.
Okay. So the UDS chapter of the Senior Staff Association withdrew their strike yesterday, but you are rather now joining. Is it that there's a division amongst the group?
Not that at all.
But then
Not
if the people who are directly involved at the moment...
Now you can see, my dear sister, you can see from the communique that was released, that includes TEU of TUC in the public university and technical universities. You talk about the Senior Staff Association at the Universities of Ghana, and then the Federation of Senior Staff, that is the FUSAC in this regard. So for that matter, that is what we are saying. If other unions decide to accuse themselves of that, I will not be able to speak to that.
Okay, sir. If government doesn't resolve your concerns in time, what other measures will TEU and the Senior Staff Association be looking at?
We will definitely converge and take a decision on that matter. Because you know that we represent constituents. They mandated us to embark on this important attack. So this same constituents will meet and take a decision, and we'll let you know accordingly.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I'm grateful, madam.
Okay. Charles Kofi Osei is the Deputy General Secretary of TEU. Away from that and looking at protest, the Ghana Police Service has held a press briefing today, September 19, 2024, regarding the upcoming Democracy Hub demonstration scheduled for September 21 to 23, 2024. The demonstration is planned to take place at Revolution Square in front of the Jubilee House. However, the Director of Public Affairs, Esi Ansar Kofi, emphasized that the location needs to be changed for the demonstration to proceed. According to Kofi, holding the demonstration at Revolution Square could compromise public order, defense, safety, and health. The police are still awaiting on an agreed upon location from the organizers, who have yet to comply with their requests.
Demonstration on the 21st to 23rd September at the Revolution Square. I wish to note that throughout our engagement with the Democracy Hub, police constantly assured them of our readiness to provide security for the demonstration at an agreed location. We wish to emphasize that the Ghana Police Service has not stopped Democracy Hub from embarking on a demonstration from 21st to 23rd September as is going around. The only issue is that the police and the Democracy Hub disagree on the choice of location, that is the Revolution Square, for the planned protest. The service has duly communicated in a letter to the Democracy Hub that we are prepared to sit with them once again and agree on a location. And also that the Ghana Police Service has put in place sufficient security measures to ensure that they get the opportunity to exercise their democratic right of protest. This is what we want to bring to the attention of the press and the general public, that the police service has not stopped the Democracy Hub. We are still in engagement with them, which we have so done through a letter to them, and we are happy to meet them anytime as soon as a new location which will not endanger public defense, public order, public safety, and the running of essential services is agreed upon. As we have always demonstrated, our officers will be ready and available to provide the necessary security to the Democracy Hub. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I will take them and then I will respond accordingly. Thank you for your attention. Yes. So we'll do it this way. I'll take all the questions, not too many. And then, so maybe we can take a few.
Ojia Hohoyao JB, the second president of the National House of Chiefs, has rejected calls for a blanket ban on all mining activities, instead advocating for stricter regulations to ensure responsible mining. He emphasized that mining significantly contributes to Ghana's economy and argued that a total ban would not serve the country's best interests. His comments come amid growing pressure on the government to take decisive action against illegal mining, known as galamsey, which continues to devastate water bodies and the environment. Various groups, including the Ghana Medical Association and organized labor, have called on President Akufo-Addo to ban all small-scale mining activities or declare a state of emergency. Ojia Hohoyao JB, the second president of the National House of Chiefs, has said that he rejects the calls for this blanket ban. Still on galamsey, organized labor has reaffirmed its call for an immediate end to illegal mining activities, commonly referred to as galamsey, throughout Ghana. The group emphasized its position during a meeting held on September 17, 2024, with the ad hoc interministerial committee established by the president to tackle the illegal mining crisis. The committee was set up to engage with various stakeholders and develop strategies to address the widespread issue of galamsey, which has caused significant environmental damage and disruption across the country. The group has warned that if the government fails to meet their demands by the end of September, they will take actions that could be detrimental to government's interests. Let's take some business stories. Cybercrime lead at E-Crime Bureau, Joseph Quay, has advocated for enhanced customer-focused security, stating that customer-centric measures in banking digitalization should be improved. Speaking on ABC in the morning, Joseph Quay indicated that enhancing these security measures will combat rising fraud cases, as current measures are inadequate.
Saying what I find as an issue or an area of improvement is the customer-centric security, right? Which I'm starting to see with some of the financial products. You log into some banking app, and before you even transact, they prop up a prompt that, hey, be careful, this type of fraud is there, so be careful how you go about it and whatnot. So I'm seeing that, but it's few, right? So the customer-centric, or the approach of protecting the customers, sometimes at their own expense, I'm not seeing a lot of that. Right, I've been at places where if you download a banking product or a payment-based product, your phone itself that you are using to download, or your device you are using to download, they will scan it to make sure that that device doesn't already have some compromised things sitting on it, so that if the banking app or the financial product comes to sit on that phone, the possibility of someone spying on it is not high. So they will check and do all of these checks. And these are all part of the customer-centric security measures that I think we need to improve on. I think we are lacking a bit in this, and for that reason, we will be experiencing some of the fraud that we are experiencing. Saying what I find as an issue or an area of improvement is the customer-centric security, right? Which I'm starting to see with some of the financial products. You log into some banking app, and before you even transact, they prop up a prompt that, hey, be careful, this type of fraud is there, so be careful how you go about it and whatnot. So I'm seeing that, but it's few, right? So the customer-centric or the approach of protecting the customers, sometimes at their own expense, I'm not seeing a lot of that, right? I've been at places where if you download a banking product or a payment-based product, your phone itself that you are using to download or your device you are using to download, they will scan it to make sure that that device doesn't already have some compromised things sitting on it, so that if the banking app or the financial product comes to sit on that phone, the possibility of someone spying on it is not high. So they will check and do all of these checks. And these are all part of the customer-centric security measures that I think we need to improve on. I think we are lacking a bit in this, and for that reason...
That's all for business. Away from business, let's take some more local stories. The Director General of the National Road Safety Authority, Engineer David Safwa Dontain, has issued a stern warning against reckless behavior on roads during the election period. He emphasized that the authority will not tolerate any form of recklessness before, during, and after the elections, regardless of who emerges victorious. This warning comes on the heels of alarming statistics gathered by the National Road Safety Authority, which reveal a surge in road crashes during election seasons. He made these remarks at a capacity building workshop for journalists in Accra to equip them in adopting statistics in their reportage as we approach the December polls, and also advocate road safety measures for politicians.
According to the authority, the importance of political leadership and funding in reducing vehicle fatalities cannot be overstated. Hence, the need for the various presidential and parliamentary aspirants to make conscious effort to abide by the political party's code of conduct that provide non-binding regulations in terms of how they should conduct themselves when campaigning. The Director General of the authority, Safwa Dontain, stressed that despite the decline in road crashes, the number of fatalities has increased by 12% since January, with overspeeding being a major contributor.
Movement. We are engaging, continuously engaging, and we plan that at various fora and their campaigns and so on, we will be at the center so that we can also speak to the populace, for them to know that much as you want your party to win, you want to be part of the process and also benefit from the winning. Now, assuming you lose by way of the fact that you died, or some of you died and were not able to vote for your party, honestly, you have died a kind of death that did not benefit your party at all. So we are also talking to the populace. I believe that between now and then, the people who can do it more is the media. And so periodically we call the media, we share our opinions with you, our strategies with you, so that you can support us. It's all about awareness creation. It's all about advocacy, communication, and I think you can do it best. Please, I know you will not disappoint us, because this is not the first time we are meeting you. During our lifetime, the Stay Alive campaign, you supported us. So we want you to go with all these tools that you have been equipped with, go and fight the fight for the National Road Safety Authority and for Ghana. Thank you.
Apia Kusi Adumakun, the West African Director of CART International, also urged politicians to prioritize the safety of their supporters, stressing that loss of life of a supporter can determine election outcome.
The road safety reporting, and this year being election year, the data shows that every year, whenever there's election, fatalities and road crashes goes up. And so by bringing the journalists and informing them and providing capacity building for them, they can also be agent of change. They will be able to report and raise the alarms that will bring about sanity, that can sanitize the road for us. About a month ago, we launched we, in collaboration with the National Road Safety Authority, launched the political parties manifesto, political parties code of conduct, and it is to provide a non-binding regulation for the political parties in terms of how they should conduct themselves when they are going for campaign with regard to the issue of seatbelt.
As political activities intensify ahead of the 2024 general elections, political strategist Dr. Samuel Efriye has advised political parties and actors to be cautious of the message they preach. In an interview with ABC News, the learned strategist emphasized that controversial remarks passed by political actors have the tendency to create problems for the country given the current volatile political environment.
But for us, controversial issues, you need to avoid them mostly because of our maturity level, because of how we assimilate information. If not, people can tend to twist it for political gain. So for ours, we can be controversial, but you need to be very careful so that you don't tend to create more problems for yourself because of our political environment in terms of knowledge, in terms of information gap in these two democracies. But for us,
away from the local stories, let's take some sports. Of the TNA Stadium in Tarkwa has become a major point of contention as a dispute between the National Sports Authority and the Tarkwa Nsuayem Municipal Assembly reaches a boiling point. The $16.3 million stadium, inaugurated just a month ago, is already facing severe maintenance issues, including malfunctioning washrooms and a deteriorating pitch. Tensions escalated when the NSA logged the facility amid complaints from the local community about the poor upkeep of the 10,000-seater venue. The municipal chief executive, Benjamin Kesse, criticized the NSA for failing to maintain the stadium despite revenues generated from events such as the Galka Top 4 and the Apinto Cup. Kesse has vowed to take over the facility's management, sparking a standoff with the NSA, whose deputy director, Majid Bawa, insists that the authority is in charge. With the community over the state of the stadium, local police have been placed at high alert to prevent any violent clashes. This dispute comes on the heels of the dismissal of NSA Director General Dr. Dojim Numekevo amid concerns about the mismanagement of sports facilities in Ghana, which led to a Confederation of African Football CAF ban on hosting international matches. The window to obtain a first-time U.S. visitor visa for the FIFA World Cup in 2026 is closing for some soccer fans, the USA Travel Association said at a press event this week. Though the federal government says travelers still have time, they encourage early action. In some countries, first-time visa applicants are facing delays of up to 600 days, making it difficult for fans to secure visas in time for the tournament. Countries like Colombia and Mexico are seeing significant delays with wait time of up to 670 and 458 days respectively. If you don't have your visa today, you are not getting here for a World Cup that's taking place in 2026. Geoff Freeman, President and Chief Executive of non-profit Travel Association, told a group of reporters. The 2026 World Cup will be hosted in the USA, Canada and Mexico, with FIFA working alongside governments to attend. That's all for sports. Up next is international. Following Following U.S. accusations of Russia and Iran's interference with the elections, U.S. agencies now claim that Iranian hackers allegedly sent emails containing stolen material from former President Donald Trump before re-election campaign to individuals involved in President Joe Biden's campaign. This incident is believed to be part of a broader effort by Tehran to influence the U.S. election, according to a joint statement by the FBI, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. This cyber activity is part of a larger effort to Tehran to distract U.S. elections and undermine voter confidence. The agencies noted that the stolen materials were sent to media outlets and Biden campaign staff, though there is no evidence that the recipients replied or used the information. The Trump campaign has called on Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris to disclose whether they used the hacked material, which the Harris campaign denied. Iran has rejected the claims, calling the accusations unfounded and insisting it has no intent to interfere in U.S. elections. Up next is entertainment news. Ghanaian musician Maradona Ejeyeboah, popularly known as Guru, has been elected as president of the Students' Representative Council at the University of Ghana. Guru and his running mate Jeffrey Eduyeboah secured a narrow victory with 50.7% of the total votes cast. Out of the 18,659 students who participated, Guru received 9,455 votes. Guru's candidacy faced significant legal challenges. He was initially disqualified by the SRC for failing to meet the necessary qualifications, a decision that was upheld by the Judicial Board. However, in a dramatic reversal, the Appeals Board of the University of Ghana overturned the disqualification of September 15, allowing Guru and his running mate to contest the election. This decision was further backed by the Vice Dean of the university, who directed that their names be included in the presidential candidates. That's all for the news this afternoon. But before we go, a look at our top stories. The Affirmative Action Gender Equality Bill 2024 has been assented to by the President. The Ghana Police Service says it is ready to provide security for the Democracy Hub protests. And the Electricity Company of Ghana says the latest report by the PURC on the operations of the power distributor as they relate to the cash waterfall mechanism leaves much to be desired. That is all for this afternoon. Thank you for watching us. For more news, visit our website www.abcnewsgh.com. Interact with us on social media at abcnewsgh_. I am Abna Mante. Have a good afternoon.